Hello friends, having discussed about the basics of network layer, control plane, data plane, best effort service model of the network layer. In this part of video, we will explore the detail of router architecture, including the forwarding mechanism through various switching fabrics. So far, we have covered the basics of network layer and the typical services provided by the network layer like forwarding and routing. We have also discussed the two abstraction visualization of network layer, that is data plane and control plane, and covered the best effort service model of internet. Now we will move forward and explore the intrinsic details of the underlying router, that is router architecture. As discussed in the virtual circuit and datagram network, we know that forwarding table which is maintained by each router along with the lookup operation is used to forward the packet from one router to other. To get some further insight into the lookup operation, let us look at a specific example. Suppose that all the destination addresses are 32-bit, which just happen to be the length of destination addresses in the IP datagram. A brute force implementation of the forwarding table would have one entry for every possible destination address. With this type of forwarding table, the router matches the prefix of the packet's destination address with the entries in the forwarding table. If there is a match, the router forwards the packet to the link associated with the match. Here, on arrival of each packet which contains the destination address in the header, router index through the forwarding table entries. Here, this address is indexed through the routing table entries for matching. Look for the match and its associated output link interface number. Here, the address which is available in the header of each individual packet on arrival at particular router will index this particular address in the forwarding table and it will then fetch the appropriate link interface. That particular link interface will then use for forwarding the packets to the appropriate router. For example, suppose the packet's destination address is this as shown. Because the 21-bit prefix indicated by the green color, 21-bit prefix bits of this address match with the first entry in the table. As these first 21 bit are matching with the first entry of the router table, it means this particular address belongs to this particular within this range. The router forwards the packet to the link interface 0. Here, as this particular address is mapped to the first entry, the appropriate output link interface, your packet is then mapped to the first 0th link interface as shown. This packet will be then forwarded to over this link. The second example, for example, this is an address available in the IP header file. As this address is mapping with the second entry in forwarding table, the corresponding output link interface is fetched and the packet is diverted or pushed over link interface number 1. As this third address match with the third row, the second link interface is selected and the packet is forwarded over second interface. Likewise, if prefix does not match any of the first three entries, as this particular address does not match with any of the first three entry in the forwarding table, in that case, router forwards the packet to interface 3. Means this otherwise, as this particular address does not map to any one of these three, by default then it will be mapped to 4 and the appropriate output link interface 3, that packet will be pushed over link 3. This is how destination based forwarding mechanism is implemented by using the forwarding table which is maintained at each router and the lookup mechanism. Although the address indexing and matching mechanism as discussed earlier sounds to be simple enough, as we are simply matching the addresses of the incoming address, that is destination address, with, by indexing through the forwarding table and simply fetching the output link interface. But practically it is not so. It is not so easy. There is some complexities there. You may have noticed that it is possible for a destination address to match more than one entry. For example, the first 24 bit of this destination address is matching with the second entry in the forwarding table. And the first 21 bit of the same address is matching with the third entry in the forwarding table. When there are multiple matches as seen, the router uses the longest prefix matching rule. That is, it finds the longest matching entry in the table and forwards the packet to the link interface associated with longest prefix match. As in this case, the first 21 bits matching with the third entry and the first 24 bits matching with the second entry. If the longest match is entry number second. That is how link interface number 1 will be selected for forwarding the packet as against link interface 2. Here we are using the longest prefix matching to forward the packet to the appropriate link. We have already overviewed the network layer's basic function, that is forwarding and routing. Let us turn our attention to its forwarding function, that is the actual transfer of packet from router's incoming link to the appropriate outgoing link at that router. To have better insight, we will explore the internals of router, that is router's architecture. A high-level view of generic router architecture is depicted here. Typically consists of four major components. One, input port. An input port performs several key functions. It performs the physical layer function of terminating an incoming physical link at a router. As shown in the leftmost box of the input port and the rightmost box of the output port. These are used for terminating an incoming physical link at router. These two extreme box, leftmost box at input and rightmost box at output. It also performs link layer function needed to interoperate with the link layer at other side of the incoming link, as represented by the middle boxes in the input and output port. This particular middle box at both the end, at input port as well as the output port, are needed to interoperate with the link layer at other side of the incoming link. Perhaps the most crucial, or most crucially, the lookup function is also performed at the input port. This will occur in the rightmost box of the input port. This particular box indicated by red color, where the crucial lookup or indexing function is performed. It is here that the forwarding table is consulted to determine the router's output port to which an arriving packet will be forwarded via switching fabric. Here actually the forwarding table is stored and lookup mechanism took place in this particular box, which will select the appropriate output link for forwarding the packet from input port to the output side of the router. Control packet, for example, the packet carrying routing control information are forwarded from an input port to the router's processor. Here, this is the router processor. Control packets are forwarded from an input port to the router processor. Here, the router processor is controlling and will syncing all these forwarding table which is stored in this particular box with the appropriate control information. Note that the term port here referring to the physical input and output router interface is distinctly different from the software port associated with the network applications and sockets. The second major component of the router is output port. An output port stores packet received from switching fabrics and transmit these packets on the outgoing link by performing the necessary link layer and physical layer function. Once the output port receives the packet from input port, it will store those packets and then forward it to the appropriate link. When a link is bidirectional, that is carries the traffic from both the direction, an output port will typically be paired with the input port for that link on the same line card, because router may be bidirectional. In that case, the same output port will act as an input port for the other side traffic. The third major component is switching fabric. It connects the router's input port to its output port, physical connection. This switching fabric is completely contained within the router. That is a network inside a network router. It is nothing but a simple network inside the network's router, which facilitates the actual transmission of packet from input side to output side. It provides the physical link. And the fourth component is routing processor. The routing processor executes the routing protocol and maintains the routing table as indicated by this arrow. As you know, the routing tables are stored in this box. Routing processor execute the routing processor and it will update the forwarding table stored and update the value and update the forwarding table appropriately. And attached link state information and compute the forwarding table for the router. It also performs network management function that we will cover in our next session, the latter part. As we discussed earlier, we know that routers forwarding and routing functions are different activity. A router's input port, output port, and switching fabrics together implements the forwarding function and are almost always implemented in hardware. These forwarding functions are sometimes collectively referred to as routers forwarding plane or data plane. Routers forwarding plane or data plane. This particular functionality is almost implemented in hardware as it operates in nanosecond time frame. As the forwarding plane operates at nanosecond time scale, that is, the input ports needs to process the datagram as much faster to avoid congestion and packet loss. It is too fast for software implementation and hence is implemented in hardware. Whereas the router's control function executing the routing protocol, responding to the attached link that go up, down, and performs certain management functions operate at the millisecond or second time scale. And hence, this routing control plane is implemented in software and executes on routing processor. In summary, routing's control plane operates in millisecond time frame, hence implemented in software. Routers forwarding and data plane operates in nanosecond time frame and hence implemented in hardware. And input port, output port, switching fabrics, and routing processor, these are the four major components of generic routers. Now we will discuss the input port functions in detail. For better understanding, a more detailed view of input processing is depicted here. As discussed, the input port's line termination function and link layer processing implements the physical and link layer for that individual input link. Lookup performed in the input port is central to the router's operation. It is here that the router uses the forwarding table to look up the output port to which the arriving packet will be forwarded via switching fabrics. The forwarding table is computed and updated by the router's routing processor with a shadow copy typically stored at each input port. The forwarding table is copied from routing processor to the line card over a separate bus, that is PCI bus, indicated by a dashed line from the routing processor to the input line card as shown in the earlier figure. With a shadow copy, forwarding decision can be made locally at each input port without invoking the centralized routing processor on a per packet basis, and thus avoiding a centralized processing bottleneck. Given the existence of forwarding table, lookup is conceptually simple. We just search through the forwarding table, look for the longest prefix match as discussed earlier, and push the packet up appropriately to the output link. As with as this lookup must be performed in nanosecond, it is implemented in hardware. Once a packet's output port has been determined via lookup, the packet can then be sent into the switching fabric. Intermittently, a packet may be temporarily blocked from entering the switching fabric if packet from other input ports are currently using the same fabric. A blocked packet will be queued at the input port and then scheduled to cross the fabric at later point in time. Suppose while sending a packet from that particular fabric is used by another packet, in that case the packet needs to be stored and those packets are queued in the input port. We'll take a closer look at the blocking, queuing and scheduling of packet at both input port as well as output port in our succeeding session. Apart from lookup, which is arguably the most important action in input port processing, some other actions which are undertaken at the input port includes physical and link layer processing must occur. Packets version number, the checksum and time to live fields must be checked and the latter two fields must be rewritten. That is time to live and checksum. Counters are used for network management such as number of IP datagram received and which must be updated accordingly. These are the typical functions apart from the basic functions which must happen at input port. The goal of decentralized switching is to complete input port processing at line speed. Instead of depending on the centralized switching which may cause a bottleneck, decentralized switching offers processing at line speed. If there are multiple packets at the same fabrics, then queuing facility must be provided. Or if datagrams are arriving at faster than the forwarding rate into the switching fabric, in that case also queuing of packet may be there. Destination based forwarding, forward only on the destination IP addresses. That is traditional way of forwarding the packets. Generalized forwarding means forwarding based on any set of headers field values. This is a typical illustration of the input port and the various functions performed by the input port. Once the input port processes the packets through lookup mechanism and select the appropriate output port link, then packet needs to be switched from input port to output port. There comes the switching fabric in picture, which is at the heart of router. As it is through this fabric that the packets are actually switched, that is forwarded from input port to an output port. Here, these packets are actually transferred from input side port to output side port through these switching fabrics. Switching fabric is characterized by one important parameter, that is switching rate. That is rate at which packets from the input ports are switched to the output port. Suppose the router is having n input, router is having n input and n output, and R is the link rate at which these ports are connected. Then R is the link rate through which these ports are connected on both the side, either input side or output side. In order to achieve the full utilization of the link capacity, desirable switching rate must be n into R, n times R, which enables to full bandwidth utilization without any packet delay in queue or packet loss due to buffer overflow. The switching rate of n into r ensures that all the packets or all these n individual link capacities are switched at the rate of n into r can be switched from input port to the output port without causing any blockage or any drop of the packet. However, switching can be accomplished in a number of ways. Typically, there are three types of switching fabrics. One is switching via memory. Second, switching via crossbar. And third, switching via bus. These are three different architecture through switching of the packets from input side to output side may occur either through memory, either through the shared bus or through the crossbar mechanism. Each one of these having its own pros and cons. We will explore each one in detail next. In this video, we have seen the two basic services provided by network layer, that is virtual circuit or datagram network. We will also explore the differences between the virtual circuit and datagram network. In the next, we will see how this lookup mechanism actually happens. Thank you. Thank you very much.